Welcome back, and thank you very much for keeping it Channel 1. Now, women play a critical role in the leadership and governance of the country, and no doubt in the past parliament we saw, or in the past election that is, we saw very many more women being elected into positions of leadership, including 7 women in the governorship, including Gladys Wanga of Homa Bay, Susan Kihika in Nakuru County, and even Fatuma Chani in Kwale County. That is to emphasize that women play a critical role in the leadership of the country. Over 30 women have also been elected as members of parliament, and that is going to be forming the basis of our discussion this morning in Women and Politics. And today we host Embu woman representative, that is Pamela, and she'll be actually telling us why she calls herself Pamela N. And she's here to talk to us more about women and politics. Now, we also remember that in the past parliament, the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, that is David Maraga, did actually raise questions about the 2/3 gender rule. That is one of the issues that we'll be discussing with Pamela N this morning. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, Pamela, I don't want to miss this, but you started off as a journalist. So I would want you to actually give us a background of how you transitioned from a journalist to a politician.
Actually, I never started as a journalist. I started as a secretary in Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, and I was working in a finance department, accounts department. Okay. I was the secretary to the accounts controller, and I now later moved to a radio production through the directive of the late President Daniel R. Moi, who initiated the Embu station to be initiated in KBC. And so my background actually as a hustler is from a secretary to a radio journalist and then to a politician. So I started here in KBC from accounts department. Then when I was accorded to go to move to radio production, and then initiated the Embu station, then that was under Central Station for quite some time. So from there, because I had not trained, I had already been trained as a secretary through the Government Secretary College. Then I moved to Kenya Institute of Mass Communication to pursue my certificate in mass communication, and later now pursued that at diploma level. Then from there, I went to Moi University and pursued a degree in communications and PR. And now, from there, I moved from secretarial to radio, and now to politics, or to a politician.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That's quite a journey. I'm just wondering, even as you're explaining your journey, from the secretary and now, even into radio production, I wonder how, especially the journalism part of it, the production part of it, how did that shape you, and until now, into leadership?
Well, from secretariat to radio production, it was quite a journey because I had not been trained as a journalist, but I thank the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, the radio team, and the management as a whole, because they give me an easy way to learn on the job training. Before now, I went for training. Then after the training, now I got the skills as a radio producer and as a presenter in Embu Central Station. Then, which now, after quite some time, Real Media Services now poached me to go and start the Wemwaro radio station that has been there for the last 14 years. And so from Embu Central Station, where I was the head of that station, then from another FM station where I was still the head of the station and still the breakfast presenter, it gave me an upper hand of leadership, because I was already at management level, whereby I was able now to generate ideas and content on behalf of the station, the stations that I did advocated for.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's quite important, especially becoming a politician, being able to generate content. And, politicians is about talking to the people. And I guess radio actually gives you that opportunity to be able to, converse with people and all that. Now, let's delve to the matter of the day, and that is women and leadership. In the past election, we've seen very many women being elected into position of power. I think there was a time that people never really believed that women could actually run for governorship, especially, and actually win. you know, women were relegated to, you know, members of parliament and other positions. But 7 women, you know, being elected into the governorship position, is that like, are we seeing a new, you know, dispensation of women leadership in the country?
Actually, you are right. You are right to say that we are looking at it in that direction, whereby more women are coming up in terms of vying for various positions. But I also thank the government of Kenya because what it did, it initiated through the constitution, because of the 2-dance gender rule. The government was able to advocate for the 2-dance gender rule by initiating the issue of having women positions in terms of the women representatives across the 47 counties in the country of Kenya. And so it gave now the woman an upper hand now to start thinking about leadership as a woman, because initially probably we looked at it whereby the men in the parliament were more than us in parliament. Why? Because the position the woman was, or the women were, is that they were vying in the same positions, in the same categories with men. And you know, men are very, very pushy when it comes to politics. They will measure you left, right, and center. And so for a woman, the weaker vessel we are, we were not able to really make it. But now when the constitution was passed, whereby now the woman is able now to vie for a woman position in the 47 counties in Kenya, it gives us now a more bargaining power as women, because when it comes to the position of the woman representative, we are not expecting, and we don't expect the men to vie for those positions. So it is man to woman. And still, the other advantage is that even if it's a woman position, the men who are our great friends and our husbands and our brothers and our cousins, they are able to vote for us. So when we vie as women, the women will vote for us, and the men will also vote for us, the young men will also vote for us. But bottom line, the man is not vying for that position. So it gives us an upper hand so that we are able to position ourselves in power and in positions through the electorate panel.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, talking about the woman representative position, definitely that is purely for women, and I mean there's no competition there. But the mere fact that seven women made it to the governorship, that is actually, you know, it's not a mean achievement. It's not a mean achievement,
yes, I agree.
And do you think that the political parties played a part in it, in the sense that, or is it that Kenyans are actually now embracing women leadership, or is it the parties that ensured that, you know, for these positions, especially the governors, would actually support women in it?
I would say yes, and on the other hand, I would say no about the party's initiative. Why is yes and no? Is that let me talk about Kenya Kwanza. It had an opportunity to just encourage the woman to vie for different positions. That's why I'm saying yes or no. Number two, the no. We have come of age whereby the woman has realized that she can be able to lead. And initially we thought that women are their own enemies. But it has come a time whereby the woman is now able to have their own confidence. They have more confidence than they had before, whereby now they can be able to move out and get elected in the various positions. If you look at like county of Nakuru, they elected women, all the positions, they went to the women. And the men embraced it. They said, hey, let's try women this time round. We don't want men in any positions in Nakuru. And they went and elected from the governor to the MCs, they elected women. And so we have come to we have come to a position whereby the women have realized, yes, what men can do, they can also do it even much better. Number three, the men have also agreed to support us. Not like not like before, where they thought we were in competition. They have decided now we are not in competition. We are here to complement each other. We are here to complement our women. We are here to complement our daughters, our cousins who are women. And so they have also decided, hey, if we are not able to do it, Let's also have our wives do it. Let's also have our sisters do it. Let's also have other people who are within the category of women to run for those positions, because the man can be there and maybe he's not born a leader or positioned himself as a leader, but in that home they have somebody who is a woman who can be able to lead and has leadership qualities. And so I really want to thank them so much, because from the last elections we have seen that the women who are elected, we have 29 single constituency, 29 of them they were elected as women, which is a bigger number than we had there in 2017. And if we now count the total of women right now in leadership, we have a total of 81. Of course, it's not a big but it's a bigger number than there before. So I want to encourage other women, the fellow women.
And just like you said, you know, a man may not be, you know, having the leadership qualities, but the woman might have, and so it's important for the men to
to support them.
Sorry, to support that. And so, you know, my question to you is, what do you think will be the impact then of more women being elected into leadership positions for the country? What impact would that have?
Culturally, we know women as a vessel that is a kind, that is nurturing. And so when we have them in leadership, we know we will not go wrong. If you look at the country of Tanzania, we have a leader, a president who is a woman.
Yes.
And she's doing extremely so well. And so if we look at the country of Rwanda, 60%, more than 60% of the seats of the leaders are women. And so when we advocate for women to be in power, we know that they are capable, because they have been tested and proven that they are able to lead. And so the women they are, when they are given that opportunity to lead, they will be able to do it better. Because one of the things that I know is that they want to prove to the men that what they have been thinking about them is not true. So they will perform to their very best.
But then, Pamela, what I would want to you to bring out, what are some of those qualities that you think that women have that actually they bring into leadership, that actually make leadership better? You know, both men and women actually have to complement each other. But what are those traits that you think, you know, we are naturals back at home?
Yes.
You know, the woman that doesn't think about herself when she wakes up.
Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about the child, you're thinking about the man or the husband, you're thinking about the home as a whole. So what are those some of leadership qualities that you think that women would actually bring into leadership and make it a success?
Women are go-getters. Majority of them are go-getters. And when they are go-getters, they are not doing it for themselves, as you're saying. They will go there as a go-getter to venture for their children, to venture for the husband, to venture for the entire community, to venture even for the neighborhood that is around them. And so some of these qualities that we are talking about this morning about women when they are given these positions is because we know they are more capable than anybody else when we compare them with the men in leadership. A woman, if, for example, if you get out of here and you just walk out through the Hariduk Road, and you find a woman at the wrong side, at the roadside, probably crying, the first thing that will attract you as a woman is, why are you crying? What is the problem? But a man will just pass by. How will they stop and they listen to this woman? The first thing they will say is that probably it's a domestic issue, you know, those kind of things. But you as a woman, you'll be prompted to think, hey, maybe this lady has a major problem than we think. And she's a very woman like me. And so that kind of trait, it goes without saying for the women, when they are given the positions, they are more caring. Not that our men, and the men should not, exactly. They should not feel bad that I'm saying this about them, but the women have a kinder heart than men.
I think also women are intuitive, you know, and so that also brings...
And patient.
Patience also is...
very, very patient.
Exactly.
Because a man will get patient very fast, but a woman will give you another chance, a second chance. That's why even in marriages, sometimes the woman has been beaten today, tomorrow, and the day after. By the time the lady wants to pack off, or packs off, she packed off long time ago. It is not the last minute that she is packing off. But, so they're a bit persistent, and they're able to just take their time than the men. So I think it's the high time we embrace the women in leadership.
You know, they say that when you educate a girl, You educate the
whole society, the whole nation.
And
yes.
When you educate a man, you know, you educate only one person.
Yes.
But that is not to say that men don't have their positions.
No,
in,
they have.
you know,
they
because
have.
you need them actually.
We need them.
For support.
And we are not really here to discriminate their leadership.
Exactly.
We are embracing their leadership. Mm-hmm. We are only comparing.
Yes.
And when we are doing this, we are empowering our women. We are empowering girls. We are trying to mentor the women so that they don't feel that their comfort zone is in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. They can wake up and be in leadership, and they can try small. From just being a board member, probably being in the school, in churches. By the time now they now graduate from being a church elder to now into politics, they will have gained a lot of confidence in themselves.
You know, you mentioned about Tanzania. You mentioned about neighbors having made quite some big steps in terms of women in leadership, in terms of numbers and all that. What do you think that, if at all you have any knowledge of, Rwanda and Uganda have done that Kenya can borrow from in terms of, you know, bringing more women into our, you know, especially national leadership? Yeah.
You see what Rwanda did after the genocide, the people, the remnants, more than 60% that survived were women.
Okay.
So when President Kagame came into power, he was able to bring in policies whereby a certain percentage, 30% of the seats were supposed to be for women. So it created an opportunity for women to be in leadership. The year that followed, I think in 2003, during the elections, in the country of Rwanda, they were able to have 48% women in positions, elected. As we're talking now, Rwanda is over 50% in terms of women in leadership. So it was a transition from the genocide, the remnants, and now the constitution, and then the president of Rwanda was able to put his foot down through a constitution that, hey, 30% women, so that they are in leadership, and then through the nominations, and then as we're talking now, as I have said, they command more than 50%. Number two, in Rwanda, there's no discrimination of women. You can vie for any position, and if you talk ill about women, you can be in for it. They are that strict. Okay. They are very, very, very strict. There is no feminism in Rwanda. So when we look at that scenario, and then now when you compare with for example, with Uganda, yes, they have made some strides a bit, but not like Rwanda, because Uganda, what they did, they increased districts to accommodate women. For example, if what Kenya did, they decided 47 women in 47 counties. Those seats are for women. But for Uganda, what they did, they increased the districts to 112, so that only 112 women would vie for those positions, and no man would vie for those positions. So those districts were created specifically for women.
So other than the fact that we have 47 women, I mean, it's a clear cut. They can go into, you know, leadership. What are other measures you think the current government, the two-thirds gender rule is still a very controversial matter, even in Parliament.
Sure. What
should be done, you know?
The first thing that we need to say is that we need to thank the current president. When he was explaining about his manifesto, he talked so much about women. And as we are talking now, we know we have made some strides about, I think we have at least a third of women who have been elected. What I'm suggesting, and I'm just proposing to the current government moving forward, because Rome was not built in a day, so that we don't start blaming the current president for not having attained the two-thirds gender rule, is that over and above the 47 women representatives in the 47 counties, the government, through the president, can be able to initiate, like the way Uganda did, creating some districts specifically for women, so that we can also have more. Other than the 47, we can create maybe some other extra districts for women positions only. Number two, about nominations for women. when it comes to leadership. Of course, we know that we have been having some nominations for women, but also we need to think through how many do we want, what is the bar line, what is the margin for the women to be nominated in various departments, in various positions in government, whether it is the CSs or the PSs, so that there's a clear cut that this line is purely for women, and this one is for both.
You know, we'll be coming to the issue of the CSs and PSs, and there's the issue of nomination of people, can I say, with special needs, like the disabled. And there's been a lot of complaint, especially from the people living with disability. I don't know what your take is, because we've had them complaining about their slots being taken by other people. I don't know what your take is on that.
It's quite unfortunate if it's true that some of those slots were taken by other people. And moving forward, probably I would urge the president to be really on the lookout, so that it doesn't happen. If it has happened, it should not happen again, so that what has been designated to the PWDs, they should have their rightful share as PWDs, because these are the voiceless in the society. These are the people with special needs. These are the people who are not able to do so much for themselves. And so if probably it has happened, I'm not saying it has, if it has happened, then the government should be able to resolve that in the near future, so that we don't have those kind of things, because these are people, they are our brothers and our sisters, and they need to feel that they have been represented. Number two, other than the government also taking the position of ensuring that the nominations of the PWDs in various positions have not been taken by other people who are able, and also urge my PWDs people, my friends. I know I do a lot of advocacy for them. And in fact, I said if I have one thing that I need to do while I'm in Parliament for the next 5 years is to move a bill, to move a motion for the PWD's issues, because they are in the society and they have been neglected as much as we are talking, not even at the county levels, even where we have other institutions. You go at their washrooms, there is nothing designated for them. Parkings, they don't have, they struggle like any other person. And so that's off the cuff. But I would also urge them, they should also not wait to be on the comfort zone, whereby they always be waiting to be nominated. Because they can as well vie for these positions without waiting to be nominated, because probably there are many who feel that they have the leadership qualities, and we know the list of nominations probably for PWDs may not be so big, but when they present themselves in the ballot through nominations or through the ballot, they will be able to compete with their counterparts, and probably they can even get some more votes than anybody else. You know,
but Pamela, you know, the challenges of just getting a nomination in a party. You know, I mean, able-bodied people already have those challenges. I'm sure people living with disability have special challenges. And now, even being as a woman, you know, some of the challenges, I'm sure you can mention a few that you went through, even just to get to, I mean, obviously, you vied for the seat, which is specifically for women, but there are very many other women.
We were 13.
Exactly. But those are some of the challenges that they go through. So how can women, especially living with disability, be supported in terms of getting into leadership, whether nomination or nominated or elected?
We have dealt with the nominations that the government needs to reconsider that, so that at least it is put on pen and paper that, hey, during nominations, it is categorically clear that we shall have 10, 11, or whichever number of women with disabilities or people with disabilities occupy various positions. Number two, if they have to really now go and vie for these positions by themselves, the government should be able to initiate a way in which they'll be able to do that. For example, I remember when you look at athletics, when maybe somebody like is running, there's somebody who runs ahead of him, so that at the end of the day he wins or she wins. So we can have some mechanisms whereby this woman or this man with disabilities, and he wants to vie the normal way without waiting for the nominations. What can we do? How can he be aided? So that there's somebody, for example, Double N is vying, but is the one vying on behalf this person, the woman with disabilities. But at the end of the day, it is not me. I'm just the guide to this woman or to this man, so that by the time we finish, it is not my win, it is the win of this person with PWD. So that, because they'll not be able to run helter-skelter, you know, moving from one constituency to another, from one ward to another. I am telling you, they may not be able to do that. But as I'm saying, the government should be able to relax rules of the game, so that at least they feel that
they're included in leadership. And you know, you talked about cabinet secretaries and PSs. I mean, the government is still constituting its cabinet. What are your expectations now, especially when it comes to women in leadership? What are expectations with the Kenya Kwanza government in terms of women in leadership?
At least from the list that was released, that is going through vetting from yesterday, we are expecting 1/3 at least for women. And that does not mean that we have already achieved the 2/3, because we haven't. And I remember President Ruto had in his manifesto said that he would have 50-50 for women in cabinet. And so already we have not achieved the 50% in terms of the gender. We have 1/3, and so because he had promised 50%, 50-50, we are expecting, if not in cabinet, either through the CSs or through the PS, then in other positions like ambassadors and other representations in government, he should consider having the women fill up those positions, so that at least, even if you don't get the 2/3, the 50% in the cabinet positions, then in other big positions like the ambassadors and what have you, we can have more representation.
And you know, talking about the CSs and the PSs, you know, being nominated right now on our screens, we can see that the vetting process is the second day of the vetting of the CSs going on right now.
Yes.
So that is also something that we should expect this morning. You know, 5 actually nominees being vetted today.
Yes.
Kindiki Kithure being one of them to be vetted today. So we'll be bringing you live coverage of that in just a short while. And you know, as we continue, Pamela N., you advocate for women leadership. I don't know, what plans do you have for women in your county?
Thank you very much. I have a plan, and the first plan is to have the groups, the women groups, chamas. Because through the affirmative action, we are able to have some grants that we'll give to the women groups, including the widows, including even the PWDs, including the youth. So through the affirmative action fund, the GAF fund, we'll be able to facilitate some money for various groups, even through table bankings. Number 2, I am looking forward to having some mentorship for young ladies, for young women and girls in leadership, so that even as they grow up, they will be able to grow up as leaders. And also we wish to advocate for the 2/3 gender rule through various platforms that I will be involved at a county level and even at national level, so that even as we move forward looking for the 2/3 gender rule, even at grassroots level, we will be able to do that. And even for PWDs, in various committees, like in my GAF committee in Embu, we already have a representative that is a PWD. And in various constituency committees, every sub-county will have a representative of a PWD in the 4 sub-counties. So you start by yourself, so that you lead by example, so that even when you talk to the others, we talk to the other leaders, they will definitely know you have started and you have begun as an example, as a leader. Then also encourage more women to vie for positions. And I'm going to be the advocate for the women. If I look at you and I know you have the potential, let me mentor you. Because when I mentor you, does not mean you are coming to take up my position. I'm mentoring you so that we can have more women in leadership, more women in power, more women in positions. So that today, tomorrow, when Double N is not there, then other Double Ns will have been born and been mentored by a Double N, and they'll become good leaders in Embu, good leaders in Kenya, good leaders in the society.
Yeah. And you know, talking about mentorship, I personally feel like mentorship in schools is very, very important. Not only primary, but especially high school, where now, you know, the girls are coming out, you know, to pursue different, you know, professions and all that. But there is more to life, if I may put it in academics.
Yes, yes.
I don't know whether that is something that you're actually considering, especially in schools. Yeah.
I've already started making some programs where I can be moving from one school to another to do some mentorship programs, especially to the girl child. That does not mean that the boy child will be left behind. We know how to deal with the boy child also, but for ladies, especially in high school, we start mentoring when they are young, so that even as they move out from 1 to 2 to translate to 3 and 4, they will be able now to know what is their position, what can they do as a woman or as a leader, as a young girl. What can they do? What positions can they have from the school background to where they are going, so that some of us, we started leadership when they were small. I was a prefect in primary from class 3 through class 7. Then I was in secondary school, and the girls, I was a prefect from 1, from 2, from 3, from 4 I was a dom captain. So you start leadership slowly by slowly. So by the time you find yourself in politics, it is not that you didn't want to into politics, but people look at the potential you have, and they start now eyeing you and telling you, hey, it's the high time you become our leader. Because like me, that is what happened, if I can tell you in a nutshell. Me, I was not going for political or any political position, but the work that I have done for the Embu community, the lives that I have touched in the Embu community, the period that I've been in radio, in KBC and in our media, I have been able to touch lives until I even got a doctorate in community development. And so when time came, they are the ones who told me, hey, you've done so much for us. Now we want to elevate you from being a radio presenter. Come to the ground. We give you more leadership because we have realized that you are able.
So we should not take it lightly. No. Whichever positions that you are in, whether you're in primary school or high school or in college, and you've been given leadership positions, that is actually an indicator that you can actually make it big. I mean, serve Kenyans at a bigger stage and all that. You know, there's another issue here that is the issue of ownership of property, you know, inheritance. That has been a very big challenge for very many women, especially widows, you know, when, you know, they lose their husbands. I don't know how you'd speak to that issue.
Yeah, it's an ongoing issue, but I want to point out this, that the Constitution of Kenya allows both the man and the woman to own land, to own property, and what the woman should do. And that is what the policy says. If you buy property and you're married, it should be in joint ownership, such that if the man wants to sell that property, he cannot. He must get consent from the wife of the woman and even the children. These days, even me as a wife and my husband, wherever he is, and the properties that we have, we cannot sell without involving the children. If it's a house, probably we want to just sell it out. We will inquire from, let our children know, hey, we want to sell out this property. And they will say yes or no. If they say no, it cannot move. We cannot sell. If my husband cannot agree that we sell that property, I will not sell it. Because it has to be all inclusive. That is what the law says. It must be inclusive. So the woman that is listening to me now, know it clearly that the law protects you from your husband or your in-laws from attacking or inheriting your property. You have all the rights to own your property, to own property, and your husband cannot dispose any piece of property without consulting you and without consulting the children if they are there. Yes.
And I think, Pamela, and the issue might not be that people are not aware that, you know, the law is there to protect them. You know, as a woman, you know, your husband cannot actually dispose of any property without your consent, and nobody can actually, you know, chase you out of your house.
Somebody is going through that issue, and there is a lawyer, government lawyer, who charges zero, who charges nothing to just being there for you. as a complainant, as somebody who has been, whose property probably has been sold out by your colleague or your spouse. There's a lawyer, a government lawyer, who is placed there for you. In all the sub-counties, we have government lawyers, and they do those services they give those services for free. So in case you did not get to know that, and if you get stuck, just talk to me, call me. I will know where to take you. I will know how to make follow-ups for you. And they know I don't even hide up my number. I have only one line. So I always give it out to them. If they get stuck, they just call me out and I will show them the way so that they can get help. And so if you are there and you get stuck, in whichever way, through the legal process, or maybe probably you are being denied, even to see as a man, you are being denied by maybe your former wife or girlfriend to see your child, husband visits, just talk to me. I will know the doors that we will open, and you have your rights given to you so that you don't get stuck anywhere. We are in an era whereby you are not supposed to sit there I got stuck, how now? No, we have ways of where you can access information and where you can get justice. So if you feel that you are being disadvantaged in whichever way, just call N Mama County Mchapakazi 0722 699 355. It's an easy number. It's the only line I have, and it is on 24/7. Don't call me now because I will not be able to pick. But if you get stuck anywhere, in whatever problem you have, just get in touch with me. I will see how to sort it out.
Yeah, Mama County has actually given her number there, so you should be able to get in touch with her in case of any hurdles that you may be facing in as far as legal processes are concerned. Double N, speaking about women in politics, more women being elected, especially as governors, for me that is exciting in itself. I mean, members of parliament, we've always had women being elected as members of parliament, though now they're more than they were before. But being elected as governors, for me, is sort of mean achievement. And so the question is, do we see ourselves, is Kenya now ready to elect a woman president in the near future?
I think that is the way to go. Those are the indicators. Where we are at, my dear, these are the indicators now. Because when you have 7 of them, and there's one of the 7 is the lady or chairman of governors, we are almost headed there. And we will start small, and I know at the end of the day, we are going to have a deputy president who is a woman, and later who will be the president, who is a woman. So the ones who are there, and they're women. Let's not limit ourselves to just being women reps. No, to just being governors. Let's aim higher, because we have what it takes, and these men will support us because we love them and they love us. And we have the majority in terms of population. Women are the majority. You just need to be a good leader, like Sulu. See, she's the president. I mean, she's given elected by men and women.
And I'm sure,
she's capable.
And I'm sure many Kenyans actually do admire her. Even men themselves. And so definitely in the future, and especially one of the women became a running mate, so that in itself informed what the future could hold for us. So thank you very much, Pamela.
You never know, I could also be the next president or the next deputy president.
Go for it. Go for it.
So we should not limit ourselves. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Pamela N, for coming in. If you want to know what the name Pamela N means, get in touch with me on Twitter at KBC, at Mariambo, or at KBC Channel 1. So we will be ending our interview this morning right there. Women in politics. Pamela N has actually enlightened us on what she's doing in the county in as far as women and politics, or women in leadership, is concerned. A brighter future for women, for that matter. So right now, I want to hand you over to the vetting exercise that is going on in the Parliament with the Committee on Appointments. So see you again tomorrow. Good day.